The Wooting 60HE. Not too long ago, this was considered objectively the most innovative and simply best gaming keyboard on the market. However, nowadays, the rest of the industry has started to catch up with Wooting's tech, making the answer of what is the best gaming keyboard much less clear-cut. Today, we'll be taking a look back at the Wooting 60HE to see if it is still the best gaming keyboard on the market, and spoiler alert, it's still really fucking good. Now, before we get into the review, I do want to let you all know that this keyboard was sent out to us for free by Wooting. However, that has not affected our opinions on the board in any way. In terms of input latency, Wooting still tops the charts. Even a year after its release, it still comfortably beats out other analog boards like the SteelSeries Apex Pro TKL and the Razer Huntsman Mini Analog. Now, do take these numbers with a grain of salt as we measure them in comparisons to reference mice with known click latencies. This is a fairly rudimentary method and is likely prone to at least a bit of error. However, the results do appear roughly consistent with the very few existing tests of keyboard input latencies. This keyboard feels amazing in game. It is insanely responsive, and that's for a number of reasons. Firstly, it has adjustable actuation distance, meaning that you can set the key to trigger at any distance that you want it to be. Additionally, it also has rapid trigger, which means that whenever you start to press up on the switch, you will deactivate the key press. This is absolutely huge for games like Valorant that don't require counter strafing to stop movement, so you're able to stop a lot quicker than other people who don't have keyboards like this. And even for games that you do need additional inputs to stop your movement, like CS, I still perform a bit better on the Wooting just because of how responsive it is. In terms of typing experience, Wooting has made considerable improvements since their older batches I tried around a year ago. On the new batches, the keys are really smooth, having little to no scratch without any lubing or other modding. The stems do have a bit of wobble, making the keys feel a bit unstable if you press them off center. And the stabs are not the greatest, but they're also not the worst. They don't have any ticking and feel fairly smooth. However, overall, the keys feel a bit wobbly. In terms of the keycaps, they do feel a bit chalky, but not too rough. I wouldn't call them extremely premium feeling keycaps, but they feel more than good enough to game with, and I'm happy with them and don't feel like I need to replace them. In terms of the sound, I tend to prefer keyboards with a bit thockier sound profile, so I don't love this sound. However, once again, this is far from the worst stock keyboard sound I've heard, which is really impressive given that this is a gaming-focused keyboard. Take a listen to the sound for yourself. Nowadays, it's easier than ever to mod your Wooting. The switches are hot swappable, which makes them super easy to disassemble. I'd recommend lubing them with 205 grade 0 and using some Wuche switch films to help tighten up the housings. Additionally, there are a variety of aftermarket cases which work well with the 60HE. I would highly recommend the Tofu 60 Redox case, as it is reasonably priced and extremely high quality. Additionally, plate swapping the Wooting 60HE used to be very difficult. However, there are now both aluminum and brass options available on the aftermarket, and Wooting even sells their own polycarbonate plate. Additional mods I can recommend are the O-ring gasket mod, which improves sound consistency, applying Poron switch pads, and adding more case sound dampening, such as compressible foam or polyfill. Guides to these mods will be linked down in the description, as Wooting mods are already quite well documented. Now take a listen to what a very heavily modded Wooting 60HE can sound like. In terms of software, Wooting gives you a lot of control over a ton of different aspects of the keyboard, and you don't even have to download anything for most of that. It can all be done through their web tool called Wootility. In it, you can control RGB effects, per key rapid trigger, per key actuation point, remap keys, and you have the ability to do advanced key bindings, which are actually a rather nice addition. The functionality I found most helpful inside of their advanced key bindings was the quote-unquote mod tap, which allows you to have a different input for tapping a key versus holding it down. This is very handy since it allows you to keep both your right modifier keys and have the functionality of arrow keys, minus that ability to hold down the arrow keys. Additionally, they do have a separate dedicated macro software, which you do have to download if you want more functionality in terms of remapping than Wootility gives you. All in all, I think this is a really pleasant software experience, and I've really enjoyed it compared to a lot of other convoluted and bulky softwares that come with other gaming keyboards. The Wooting 60HE remains the most feature-packed, best-performing gaming keyboard on the market. Between that and its surprisingly nice and smooth feel out of the box, I can very safely recommend this keyboard for anyone looking for a top-of-the-line gaming keyboard. However, the analog keyboard market is growing faster than ever. New keyboards like the Arbiter Studio's Polar 65 have many of the same features as Wooting, as well as having an aluminum case and screw-in stabilizers, all for a lower price than the Wooting 60HE. Additionally, future boards such as the Keychron Q1HE and the Akko Mod 007HE will be gasket mounted right out of the box. The performance of these keyboards has yet to be tested, but it seems like Wooting's time at the top could be coming to an end very soon.